All right, man. Well, we're going to be talking about the CEO, and apparently he's in massive trouble. Recently, we have talked a lot about just streaming sites in general, right? We talked about Kick, how Pippa Pipkin, one of the first major VTubers to move to that platform, how I personally think like that's an interesting and possibly a good thing for the like just streaming community as a whole. We talked about how Hassan is basically the one guy on Twitch that can get away with breaking the rules. We've talked about how Asmongold was suspended because of the crazy takes he said, on top of contrasting it with Hassan, how he has said even crazier stuff and he was never suspended. We've talked about how the kick streamer that was harassing people at TwitchCon, he actually went and talked to the CEO and was like, "Oh, you treat your streamers like crap. Why don't you pay them?" Blase blase, like basically like grilling him in the middle of the street. Like, bro, this is crazy. But apparently, something's going on with the CEO. So let's go ahead and talk about it. We got a Mugen reaction, baby.
What do you think of when someone mentions the website twitch.tv?
Swimming streams. Okay, tits.
Maybe you think of your favorite streamer. Maybe you
Oh,
think of your
well.
favorite esports game. And maybe, just maybe, you think of a
Yes.
half-naked woman in a
Yes,
kiddie pool
exactly.
indoors. Regardless of what your answer is, I'm sure there's some amazing memories tied to it. But when I think of Twitch, I
Amazing.
think of a grossly mismanaged circus. A circus that is still not profitable after almost
Really?
17 years of
Really?
existence.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
they haven't had one single
Really?
profitable year ever since they were created back in 2007. But
That's
that's just the
crazy.
tip of the iceberg. What Twitch is also known for is their complete and utter inconsistency and lack of transparency when it comes to their bans in regards to their trust and safety team. They show very, and I mean very clear favoritism to some streamers
Yes, they
while
do.
showing clear malicious intent with other streamers.
Yes,
This
they
has
do.
been going on since the website's inception. People were hoping that this weird, immature culture of favoritism would go away slowly after Amazon had acquired the website back in 2014 for
Oh, no.
$970 million. But as you might have guessed, things only got worse. Look, as someone who's been watching Twitch for almost 10 years now, I can sit here and make a 1-hour video of the inconsistencies when it comes to bans and punishments on the platform.
You
But
honestly
I'll
could.
just show you a couple, because it'll be enough for you to understand
Literally
why I
no
wouldn't
slip.
trust a single Twitch employee to put the fries in the bag at a McDonald's. In 2020, the streamer Alinity was dancing on stream. She showed her nipple by mistake. That's considered adult content. In any case, she got banned for 1 day. Cool. In the same year, 2020, a well-known streamer by the name of Pokimane, who I'm sure you've heard of, opened up a hub link, okay? One of the biggest adult video websites, showing what was on the front page. Yes, many videos
Oh,
of
man.
people getting penetrated. She said
Yes.
it was an accident. In the end, she only got a warning from Twitch,
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
Not even a
And then she decided to suspend herself for a little bit, right?
ban or anything, an email saying that, hey, what you did was kind of bad, please don't do it again. In that same year, yes, I don't know what happened in 2020 in particular, Thorson, a very well-known streamer, clicked on an Imgur link in his chat, something he does all the time. What he didn't know, though, was that it was a GIF. It started off as an image of a meme and then transitioned into a woman sucking on a horse sausage. Yes, you heard
Yo,
that right,
that's
a horse sausage.
crazy.
I can't go into more detail, we're on YouTube. Regardless, though, it wasn't intentional, he had no idea, it was a troll in chat.
And then
What
what
happened? He got banned indefinitely. Yes, forever with no date of an unban. Only getting his ban
Wow.
reversed after more than a month. Now check this
That's
out. A
crazy.
streamer was getting backshots live on stream
yeah,
while
I heard of
replying to
this.
chat.
That's
This went
crazy.
on for multiple minutes as she was getting railed from behind. She gets banned, but for 1 week. She comes back to streaming and
Interesting.
blows up. She has over 30,000 followers. You see the pattern here? Exactly. There is no pattern, just clear favoritism
Yeah,
and
it
malice
isn't.
towards specific streamers. This is why for a long time, no one could take the platform seriously. In fact, for a long time, there was this running joke. The head of partnerships at Twitch, who has been there for over a decade, even after Amazon buying the company, was a man called Hassan Buhari. People would joke that female streamers got special treatment due to Hassan. Those jokes became rumors, and those rumors became out of control, especially with all the terrible decisions Twitch was
Damn, he
making at
even
the
had to
time.
talk
This
about
prompted
it.
Hassan to tweet this in June of 2019, saying, "I do not have anything to do with Twitch suspensions or moderation actions. If you or your friend needs help in this regard, please see this link. I cannot do anything about suspensions or unsuspending you," pinning tweet. Making many feel sorry for him that, hey man, maybe these jokes are getting out of hand.
But-
Well, these jokes were not crazy enough because not even a year after this, in 2020, Twitch fired Hassan Buhari over abuse of power. As the Me Too movement was going on, people were leaking messages of Hassan not only asking for these inappropriate favors from female creators, but also showing them off to his friends. There was
That is absolutely terrible. Like, of course, it's gross that he was misusing his power, but then he's taking these favors, right? And then he's showing it to people. Wow, that's crazy.
A certain instance where he received nudes from a certain female Twitch streamer, and the
Wow.
first thing he did was join a voice chat with his friends and show it off, saying, "Oh my god, guys, I just received her boobs. Oh my god, check this out." This man was the head of
Oh,
partnerships.
brother.
Okay, he had the ability to give you partner if he wanted to as well, which he definitely did if you sent him inappropriate images as a female creator.
Corruption.
And bear in mind, this was 6 years after Amazon had dished almost $1 billion to acquire the website. This showed us that even after all these years, Twitch had the organizational structure of a startup, except it only had the negative aspects of a startup with no positives. Anything from favoritism to cringy ass bro culture to unprofessionalism and a lot of
shame.
moments where they were just winging it. Many people placed the blame on Emmett Shear, one of the original 5 co-founders of Twitch.tv, or Justin.tv as it was known before the name change. The public perceived Emmett as someone who had zero control over the company, as someone who was more concerned with network engineering, with the website's infrastructure, rather than its culture and trust and safety
cares more of
policies.
the background.
After resigning in March of 2023, people were hoping that his successor would finally be able to steer Twitch in the right direction and make it go from unprofessional
And then
frat
we
club
got
to
Dan.
an actual professional functioning company who is a subsidiary of Amazon. The person replacing him as Twitch CEO was the person who used to be the president of Twitch, who is Dan Clancy, someone who used to work at NASA and Google and somehow
at
ended
NASA
up
and
at
Google.
Twitch. From day one, he did his best to show everyone that he was the hip and cool CEO, someone who sought to understand streamers at a core and fundamental level to give them exactly what they want. He went on to do so many collabs with bigger streamers, smaller streamers, you name it, and even started streaming himself weekly on his Twitch channel, really emphasizing the fact that he was here. And just like when Amazon was buying Twitch, people were yet again hopeful, optimistic, that this was finally going to lead Twitch in the direction it so desperately needed to go to. But guys, the website got infinitely worse. There was yet again a complete lack of direction. I'm sure you remember the whole fiasco that happened with the pools, hot tubs, and
The hot
beaches
tub
category.
meta.
Twitch simply did not know what it wanted to be or who to cater to. They would
Yes.
always keep revising their terms of service to the point where things don't really make much sense even by
weren't
today's
lining
standards
up.
because things are not enforced equally. Favoritism is still very much present. One of the
Yes.
biggest incidents on Twitch, just in general because of how ridiculous it is, was in 2024 at the end of April. A streamer by the name of Denims on the left here said on stream that she would pay $30,000 to whoever made Asmongold
Wow.
disappear.
That's actually insane. I have not heard of that until now. That is crazy. Like, bro, we're over here talking about hitting people off IRL. Bro, like, now this is beyond she needs to get banned, bro. She needs to be put on some type of like watch list.
Yes, I'm serious.
That's crazy. Like, especially if she has the funds to actually do so. Like, no, like this is not a joke.
Actually happened. She didn't say, "Hey guys, I'm just joking, haha." No, she said it with a serious straight face like the one you're seeing right here. And unfortunately for Denims, we're not in the American Wild West of the late 1800s. You can't just put a bounty on someone's head like this.
For
It's
real.
without exaggeration to say that this is
Well,
a
I mean,
federal
you could definitely still do that, which is why I should say this is why I'm saying she needs to be put on some type of watch list. Like, there are still people that can get you hit, like point blank, period. So yeah, like this is not a joke. This ain't no bounties, wild, wild west. Like people still have the ability to do this, which is why I'm saying, bro, like she needs to be, bro, like this woman is dangerous.
federal crime. Now, Twitch's terms of service say that violence on Twitch is taken seriously and is considered a zero tolerance violation, and all accounts associated with such activities on Twitch will be indefinitely suspended. And yet here she was calling for her fellow streamer Asmongold's assassination. You would think that Twitch would do something about this,
What?
right? Well, no. She didn't get banned and she faced zero consequences for doing this. That's Dan Clancy's Twitch. I also need to mention the fact that very recently, in October of
Yes,
2024,
VTubers are-
Twitch made it illegal for VTubers to
Yes.
show their hips. Yes, virtual characters can't show their hips. Yet when you go to the
Crazy.
pools, hot tubs, and beaches category, you see this. May contain sexual themes. I assure you, buddy, they're showing way more than their hips. Some of them are twerking for subs, man. It's not even funny. All of
That's
this was to
crazy.
illustrate
Who? So I can do some like personal research.
just how bad Twitch's reputation has become over the years. Sometimes it's hard to believe that a website like this is owned by Amazon or that they even paid $1 billion for it. But
Yeah, like what is Amazon even doing? What was the point of Amazon buying this? There's literally no benefits of having Amazon even purchase this site because they have not done anything to make it even remotely more credible as an actual website. Like, bro, this like Twitch as a website for entertainment is a joke because they can't even take themselves seriously. And you expect everybody else to? Yeah, tough luck, buddy.
everything I mentioned so far has nothing to do with what's going on right now. This
Really?
is something that is existential to Twitch as a
So this
company,
is something
its CEO, and even worse, its parent company, Amazon. You have some
Okay.
pretty big Jewish organizations calling Twitch anti-Semitic. Anything from the Times of Israel to the Jerusalem Post. The
Bro,
Anti-Defamation League reached out to Twitch directly, and now many are calling for the CEO's resignation. It's a very nasty and
understandably
highly
so.
political situation, and I have no interest in taking any sides. So let's try and talk
Let's just
about
stick
this in
to
the
the
most
facts.
neutral, objective way possible. Let's go. This entire issue started with a clip you've no doubt seen already of Asmongold calling Palestinian culture inferior, saying that he's not sorry for everything that's been happening there.
These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people for their
That's a
identity, and
crazy
it is
take.
directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways.
That was the clip summed up.
Like, and I seen some people in the comments is like, oh, I'm not upset with what Asmongold said. I'm just upset at how he said it. And it's like, bro, stop picking at straw hairs. Not everything is about you and what you think is right. Okay, this is a man with thousands of followers, okay? What you think personally, your ego needs to be set to the side because, brother, you are on the sidelines right now. This is a guy that has thousands of people watching him, and he said this. And he's also the owner of companies, and he said this. Like, that's the crazy part. Like, even if you want to personally believe what he said is true, sure, but you're not supposed to say this shit out loud. That's the whole point, right? Whenever big governments and they're taking over and they're making fun of like taking money from you and me, right? The common people, when they're taking money from us, they don't usually say it out loud. But when they say it out loud, it makes them look bad. When he said this shit out loud, it made him and the whole site look bad. Okay, that's the whole point. It's not about what you think he said or how he said it. It's just the fact that he said it out loud.
As you can see though, it went absolutely viral on October 14th when it happened, and it was the talk of the internet. Many people were calling on Twitch to ban him, especially since their terms of service
Of
talked
course.
about incidents like this specifically.
Understandable.
This section in the Twitch terms of service is dedicated to protected groups. Anything that portrays a specific group as greedy or unintelligent, comparing groups to animals, insects, pests, parasites, you name it. And one of them
Inferior.
is content suggesting that protected group members are subhuman, inhuman, or impure. So of course, there was a strong sentiment that what he had said in that clip fell in that category. That's not to say that many weren't on his side. No, in fact, there were. Just like the current conflict between Israel and Palestine going on right now, this was a very divisive issue. There were mostly two main opinions about this.
Like, honestly, let's just look at the rules. Even if you want to say you're on his side, even if you believe that people from Palestine are inferior, these are still human beings at the end of the day. Even if you don't agree with the things that are going on, these are still human beings, and human beings have this thing called conflict. And we have had this for centuries, from the Crusades to the Iraq invasion, right? We have always had a conflict, and it's always been human versus human. Sure, we could all say and all start to agree that yes, when humans are going against each other, it's very inhumane. That does not mean you should start calling people that are doing these things inhuman, especially when it's not the combatants, it's the civilians. The civilians, and like calling a whole group inhumane when they're humans, like obviously that's not right. And I feel like I shouldn't have to tell you that's not right, but again, a lot of people they're stuck in their echo chambers for one, and they're stuck online. But whenever you just go outside and relax and just think about the things that you can control in this world, you can't control what your neighbor does, let alone what another country is doing from across the world. And if it's the country right next to you, you can't even control that. What you can control is yourself, how you take this information, how you process it, and then how you release your thoughts back into the world. And hopefully, people everywhere, and this would just make life better if people took what they were feeling and instead of projecting out just negative emotion, negative energy, we try and look for a more positive solution, which is not easy because I just talked to my roommate here and we talked about the Palestine and Israel like just conflict, and we were talking about, oh, is it religion, is it beyond religion? Like we had this conversation and we were able to have this conversation because we weren't at each other's necks. And if more people were able to do this, we could probably start figuring some stuff out. One of my solutions was somebody needs to apologize. Whoever it is, whoever started it, right? And it's hard to do that because of how old and how long this history is. Obviously, it's not going to be easy, and I'm not here to say it's going to be easy. But all I know for a fact is if somebody is willing to apologize, it'll be easier to stop conflict because once you say, I am sorry, and you mean it, the other person has two options. They accept the apology and you two move together, or they show their hand to really be the bad guy that you're trying to paint and portray them as. But if you guys are both killing each other, of course, the outside is just going to be like, yeah, man, they're just both killing each other. Oh, that's crazy, right? And why are you expecting other people to come to the rescue when they don't know who to rescue? Nobody is saying, I'm sorry. Nobody is apologizing. Nobody is taking that step forward because one, it's hard. And for two, it's honestly something you guys got to figure out because you can't expect everybody else to try and figure it out for you. Even though I'm grieving for you, even though I feel bad for what's going on, we can't do anything about it. This is up to the leadership. And if the leadership isn't helping or changing anything, well, expect nothing to really change. And that's all I'll say about it.
Israel and Palestine going on right now, this was a very divisive issue. There were mostly two main opinions about this. The first opinion seeing him as a monster, as someone who didn't care about people's suffering and would go as far as to call them inferior, showing his racist side. The second opinion saw him as a hero, someone who finally said the quiet part out loud, what a lot of people have been thinking. Regardless, as soon as his rant was done,
I mean, like, yeah, he said the quiet part out loud and then he got suspended. Congratulations. Like, what did that solve? What did that change? It didn't do anything but fan the fire. So, yes, you said the quiet part out loud, but did it help? Absolutely not. That's probably why it's called the quiet part.
Hassan Abi, a
We
streamer
already
on
talked
Twitch who
about
happens
this
to
as
be a
well.
political commentator on the extreme left, this is an objective statement by the way, immediately called him on stream and tried his best to explain to him the situation of the whole Palestine-Israel war and why he was being insensitive and wrong in his opinion. After that stream, Asmongold did something extremely rare. Apologize. He said, looking back on it, I was way too much of an asshole about the Palestine thing. My bad. Of course, no one deserves to have their life destroyed, even if they do things or have views I find regressive. You guys deserve more than me saying stupid shit like that. I'll do better. When it came to Twitter, many of the comments were not on his side. He was ratioed like there was no tomorrow. Well, folks, he said my bad. I think that's a wrap. Shortly afterwards, the consequences to what he had said truly started appearing. The streaming org he had co-founded by the name of OTK released a statement saying that we do not agree with anything that Asmongold has said, and that he will be stepping away from OTK and all of its affiliate companies such as Starforge, a PC building company, Mad Mushroom, a game development studio under OTK, and Mythic Talent, the talent agency he helped co-found. By the way, fun fact, I'm in this agency. I love Mythic Talent. They're really, really cool.
Crazy.
Don't get it twisted though. The fact that he co-owns it doesn't mean he owns me. I can call him a bald fuck all I want. I can already see the comments under this video. No, this is not how it works. Anyway.
He co-owns something that you work for. I think he owns you just a little bit. I mean, if anything, he owns you more than you own him.
He had to step away from his leadership positions from all of these companies because they didn't want to associate with him anymore. As this was all happening, yet another company decided to cut ties with him, although temporarily, and that's Twitch. They decided to ban him for 2 weeks following his comments on Palestine. He then made a video outlining his plans moving forward, that he was going to get his life together, that he was finally going to clean his messy-ass house, that he realizes that he's become an unpleasant person in his opinion the more he spent time online, and that he was reached out to by the very same people he called inferior, and they were very open to not only forgive him, but to have a conversation. So we'll see what he ends up doing. However, as people finally got what they wanted and Asmongold was banned, the conversation shifted to other streamers on Twitch that have said things that were just as bad, actually, if not way worse than what he had said about Palestinians, that were not yet banned, and if anything, were encouraged by the platform itself. Most people, of course, were referring to Hassan Abi, the same streamer who had spoken to Asmongold after his rant. Why? Well, you only need a couple of examples. On January 2024, a few months after the attacks of October 7th, Hassan brought on a Houthi pirate from Yemen to talk on his stream through a video call. He asked him questions about the conflict in Israel and Palestine, about his opinion on numerous things, and of course, if he watches anime, to which the Houthi said, I watch One Piece. Hassan loved the answer, his community loved the answer, and of course, this got memed. Hassan was heavily criticized by many on Twitch, people who weren't even political in nature, and yet Twitch pretended like it didn't happen. They had nothing to say about it. Let me tell you why that's a big deal. On January 17th, around the same exact time Hassan was interviewing the Houthi pirate from Yemen, the US Department of State designated the Houthis as a terrorist organization. That's because they were attacking commercial ships moving along the Red Sea. They were hindering global trade and attacking innocent people on those vessels that had nothing to do with the Israel and Palestine war. Twitch's terms of service very specifically outlines a section dubbed Terrorism and Violent Extremism, in which they say that terrorism and violent extremism promote unlawful violence and spread messages of intolerance. Twitch does not allow content that depicts, glorifies, encourages, or supports terrorism or violent extremist actors or acts. This includes threatening to or encouraging others to commit acts that would result in serious physical harm or significant property destruction. For example, you may not want to display or link terrorist or extremist propaganda, including graphic pictures or footage of terrorist or extremist violence, even for the purposes of denouncing such content. So Hassan has successfully promoted a terrorist organization as outlined by the US Department of State. I should add that he asked him very softball questions such as, do you know what KFC is? And do you watch anime? This wasn't really journalism, it was just glorifying revolutionaries like he does all the time. He would also show his friend on stream,
All
Nick
the
Polam,
time.
footage, literal footage of the Houthis taking over these ships in the Red Sea.
That's
I mean,
wild.
look at
We
this.
didn't
Group of
see
people
this
that
in
are
the
like,
last
no,
video.
we care about the Palestinians. We don't want you bombing them. So we're going to take action. And we're going to try to punish you economically to the best of our ability. And by God, they started doing that, and they were doing it real well. So they started.
And by God, they were doing it, and they were doing it real well, guys. Twitch said in their terms of service, don't show this stuff even if you're gonna denounce it. Not only is he showing it here, but he's not denouncing it. If
Bro,
anything, he's glorifying
it.
But I think the most interesting thing in all this is what happened in regards to Asmongold. During a segment with Ethan Klein, Hassan sat there and pretty much insinuated that China did Tibet a favor by erasing their culture, giving the idea that, yes, their culture is inferior. You can even see Ethan making fun of him, like, oh yeah, China did them a favor, didn't they? And he wasn't going against that narrative. Watch.
Tibet was literally a feudal slave mandate, like
So
autonomous zone.
China did them a favor.
That was one. I mean, in America, when I say something like this, people get very upset. You know, we talk about the Dalai Lama saying "suck my tongue" or whatever, but like that's not far from the norm in normal Tibetan existence before the Communist Party came in and
But
took
China
over.
unilaterally took over Tibet,
Like
wealth
these are
their culture. They basically are trying to, homogenize the culture.
if your culture.
They're trying to spoil the religion and
the part,
identity.
the part of
and they did them
feudal
a favor.
warlords and
This clip made people draw parallels
That's
with what
crazy.
Asmongold said. How come Hassan can sit there and say that the Tibet people deserve to have their culture erased due to a couple of bad stains in their past and not face any consequences? At this point, this was clear favoritism, but it wasn't just limited to Hassan, it also stretched out to everyone who orbited around him, like that Yemeni Houthi that he brought on his stream. The same Houthi that Hassan had given a platform had posted on Twitter a man getting impaled. It's a drawing, don't worry. But regardless, it's still a man getting impaled through his ass to his mouth, and the caption reads, "The execution that we will carry out on all Zionists." Now, the Houthi does have a Twitch account.
Wow.
He was banned on there after this tweet, created an alt account signaling ban evasion, which is against Twitch TOS.
Against
That
TOS.
account got banned too, and then after 12 hours,
He made another
both
one.
of those accounts got unbanned. Listen,
Oh.
you have to understand how crazy this is, okay? Making an alt
How?
account is ban evasion. Ban evasion is usually very strictly carried out by Twitch, but in this case, it was given a massive exception. This was all happening as the Asmongold stuff was happening too.
An
Hassan was
exception.
confronted about this, of course, and his response was, well, hey, at least the drawing he posted wasn't of a Jew, so I don't see what the problem is. That's because the man getting impaled on the drawing looked African, so this was nothing more than a very big deflection. This again renewed questions over Hassan's influence and the things he's been doing to this platform. But we were also starting to understand where this favoritism was coming from. Dan Clancy, shortly after
CEO.
taking over as CEO,
Bro, they have a whole video of them singing happy birthday. Like, do you know how much do you realize how much effort it would take to go as a CEO downstairs into the office of like all these other people that are working for you, like and say, okay, we're not working, we're on company dime, we're gonna stop what we're doing and film this quick video singing happy birthday to somebody that's on the platform. What? That's crazy.
of Twitch, had an interview with Bloomberg, and here's what we discovered in that interview. Not a gamer himself, Clancy mostly watches musicians or talk shows on Twitch. He particularly enjoys leftist political commentator Hassan Piker, who has 2.5 million followers at the platform. I like the frankness and bluntness, Clancy said. He's comfortable saying what he believes. I'm not going to sit here and talk to you about whether Hassan's streams are worth watching or not. Again, I'm here to be objective. All I can say is that 8 months after this interview, Hassan brought a Houthi Yemeni on his stream, directly breaking the terms of service on twitch.tv, and didn't get banned for it. Oh, and by the way, if you were wondering what kind of streamers Dan Clancy follows on his own website, this is a clip from him showing the upcoming features on the Twitch app on mobile where you have a function that works like Instagram stories. These are all the streamers he follows. Interesting. I kind of see a pattern.
Yeah, I do
Now,
too.
what brought us today to this breaking point that we are at, this existential threat that Twitch is facing, is the ecosystem that was fostered by Hassan and his community. One of the main people of interest is Frogan, a partner Twitch streamer and
You know, that's interesting because we were talking about the ecosystem on Twitch, right? I don't really even follow the ecosystem itself, right? Because, you know, I like when I'm always focused on like producing. So whenever I was streaming, I was just streaming. And then of course I just raid the people that I be working with or people I consider friends. I just raid them and that's it. I'm not paying attention to the top streamers. I'm not paying attention to Ludwig. I'm not paying attention to Hassan. I'm not paying attention to Asmon. I'm not paying attention to Kai Cenat. Right? I'm focused on what I'm doing, which is growing, right? So whenever we brought up the whole Twitch ecosystem, and I asked my community on YouTube because we were watching Pippa, and she moved to Kick, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I like being in Kick more. You know, it's more chill. She likes the vibes. It's like okay." cool, you like Kick more. And then she was talking about like the unwritten rules on Twitch, and like the obviously she's talking about like the leftist politics, right? She's not interested in that. She's not a fan of that. So that's why she went to a competitor. And it's like, once you start seeing all this, like I'm seeing this back to back to back. So even though I'm not like paying attention to it that much, even I can see like, yes, there's obviously an agenda going on Twitch. Obviously, like when you have big streamers breaking the same rules and the rules don't apply to them, but it applies to another big streamer, obviously there's some politics involved. Obviously there's people that like somebody more than somebody else, and it's absolutely disgusting and unfair. How can you sit here and try and promote the streaming platform to be more inclusive if you're willing to ban everybody except for people that are actually causing problems? Because obviously they're causing problems. How can you sit and say Hassan is not causing problems and Asmongold is, and they both are talking about the same shit? I sh- it just it boggles the mind, and for some reason there's going to be people out here that try and do mental gymnastics to try and find some type of solution to where they're right and everybody else is wrong. And again, I just don't understand how that shit works, man. People are online way too freaking much. It's
Someone who is
crazy.
considered a close friend when it comes to Hassan. In mid-2024, Ludwig was organizing a charity for Palestine for the people affected by the war. He said he was going to contribute $10,000 of his own money. Frogan's response? Calling him a slur for white people and saying you can keep your 10K, we don't want it. All while she has an emergency rent donation goal at the bottom of her stream. Now, even though Ludwig is considered to be one of Hassan's close friends, Hassan vehemently defended Frogan's usage of the word cracker here, even though she literally is begging for money to pay her rent and hasn't done anything when it comes to donating to Palestinians. Ludwig was giving away $10,000 of his personal money while encouraging his entire community to donate as well. I don't think you need to be a genius to look at this objectively and realize how ridiculous, how much of a farce this all is. Of course, she suffered no consequences. No one did in this case. A trend continued by Twitch. Recently, just on October 20th,
Like, bro, y'all can't see because I'm wearing shades, but I'm just sitting here rolling my eyes, bro. It's like, yes, bro, there are people out here just virtue signaling. I'm not saying Ludwig is, but bro, like if you're sitting here struggling for money and then someone's offering you money and you're gonna say no because of your political views, it's like, sure, okay, right, sure, okay, fine. But then you're gonna sit here and still also complain and beg for more money from everybody else. Like, it's just it's oh man, like people, and that's why I just be focusing on myself and my community and positive energy, baby. Like, hey, that's what their issues are not mine. There it is.
2024, Frogan, yet again with another controversial take, saying that she hopes all American soldiers get PTSD and get denied access to healthcare live on her stream. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. She
Okay.
literally said every word.
Okay, cool. Somebody that obviously spills hatred in their heart. Not our issue. All my other veterans out there, keep getting help that you deserve. Your boy KhunShawn is here.
Watch.
I have no pity at all for any fucking soldiers.
Okay.
Distress, thank you so much. I will never have any fucking pity for any fucking soldiers. U.S. military? Boo fucking who? I hope you get PTSD. I hope you get PTSD. And I hope you get no health insurance when you get back into fucking America.
There were no immediate consequences after she had said this, and if anything, it brought attention to her very problematic past associated with Twitch. It turned out that Frogan was a part of something called the Arabs podcast.
It's kind of wild how these people that have these absolutely insane, crazy, super extreme takes are also the same people that be sitting on these panels, right? Remember what happened when it's and it's not just Twitch. There's other like big companies that be having these extreme people working for them. How do they be getting into these positions, bro? That's just the question I got. And if you know how, bro, leave it in the comments below so I can get my black ass up there and just start spewing the stuff that I believe in.
And at the latest TwitchCon, back in September of 2024, very recently, they held a panel approved by Twitch in which they had an ethnicity tier list. I'm not even joking. I'm not even making this up. This is real. The whole premise of this was, how would a streamer react about saying the word Habibi? And they had a bunch of streamers ready with the rankings consisting of Arab coded, asks permission to say Habibi, thinks Habibi is a slur and wouldn't want to say it, and the last tier being loves Sabra. So of course, Hassan is placed as Arab. I mean, why wouldn't he be? Everyone here loves him and the attention he gives them. A bunch of random streamers that have nothing to do with this. Like, I don't even know why this is a thing, guys. Don't even ask me. And of course, you have the tier saying love Sabra. Now, what is Sabra? According to Israelis, Sabra hummus is the most popular hummus brand in Israel. Everyone there has it in their fridge. I think it's fairly straightforward to assume that Love Sabra means Israeli, alright? But it also has a very unfortunate double meaning. Sabra also means a Jew born in Israel. So whether that was intentional or not, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised, but it definitely doesn't help their case. This is practically an ethnicity tier list in which the top is Arab and the bottom is Jewish. That is ridiculous, bro. You can see the sponsors right here. Capcom, Chevron, Samsung. You can see TwitchCon. This was signed off by Twitch to be on stage. This was streamed at TwitchCon. This was an event at TwitchCon with people sitting in the audience watching. Bro. How the hell did this happen? I don't understand.
How it happened because nobody called it out. Nobody sat here and said, man, the stuff that these people are doing is absolutely terrible and they should be ashamed of themselves for doing so. Why? Because people are scared whenever it becomes something when it comes down to like religion or race. Some people just don't want to talk about it. Some people want to put their heads in the sand. And when you do that, when you show your cowardness, you're not able to sit here and stand up for what you believe in. You let other people talk about what they believe in and they become radical. You don't bounce your opinion off of theirs and say, well, you're wrong about this. We have statistics here. Here's the data. Here's the sheets. Everything you're saying is just how you feel, but that has nothing to do with the reality that happens in the world. When you're not able to do that, this is what happens. And then other people are going to see this and think this shit is okay. And when it absolutely is not. And it's a damn tragedy. But hey, that's Twitch. That's why we have competitors. And that's why it's good to have competition in the world. So yeah, I would advise people, instead of getting upset about it, tweeting about it, you go to the competition. Because when more people start leaving, they will start looking around like, damn, why is everybody leaving? Why is the paycheck getting shorter? What's going on? Well, obviously you have a product people are not interested anymore. And that's what you got to do. Everybody, all of you. It's not just the gamers. All of you need to vote with your wallet. You vote with this stuff. You vote with the money inside of it. That's all you can do in a capitalist society. You vote with your capitalism.
How can this oversight happen like this? This just shows you how much of a mess Twitch is. And yet here they were ranking people based on ethnicity. I just can't believe it.
People saw this and they thought it was a good idea, bro. This was not an oversight. They were like, oh, this is a great idea. Look how far along they are in the chart, bro. Obviously, they're okay with it.
I just can't believe this. And you know what the funny thing is? Even if you were Arab, you probably would not want to be a part of this or associate with people like this because this is just cringe. What the hell is this? I mean, you have a literal Jew, Ethan Klein, right here in Love Sabra. Like, come on, man. That's crazy. Speaking of Ethan Klein, he's actually been the biggest critic of Twitch and the CEO regarding all this stuff we've talked about in this video so far. When he saw this tier list, he was outraged. And even though at some point he and Hassan were on great terms, he had a lot of criticism towards his behavior and the people he's promoting. And to many, he was seen in the right. His opinion was warranted, that this was crazy. He was saying in his title of his latest podcast, Dan Clancy must resign as Twitch CEO. He also commented on how Hassan reacted to this tier list and had nothing but positive things to say about it. I think I should mention here that Ethan doesn't even consider himself to be a Zionist. He's against Israel's actions, but the only thing he doesn't want is the 8 million Jews born in Israel to not be expelled out of the country. This means that the only thing he and Hassan disagree on is the 8 million Jews point. But still, he's being treated like an outcast and put at the bottom of the ethnicity tier list. The objective question to ask...
because he said something different than the group. Even though they're both part of the same group, he said something different. And that's why he had to go. Crazy how tribalism works, man. Like that's just humanity. Us versus them mentality. It happens for everybody, every ethnicity, every religion. Everybody has some type of tribalism when there's so many people. And this is why I always talk about community. Community. Like these are the things that are important. Having your neighbor, your neighbor's neighbor, your family, your close relatives, whatever, like these small group of people, those are the people that you should definitely keep around you, that you should take care of, that you should, especially if you're a man, have that will to say, I will protect you in case something bad happens. Because those are the only people you can turn to. Because when you start looking at an even greater size community, of course, there's going to be splinter cells. There's going to be other factions and people that maybe, oh yeah, we're all American, but you're a leftist and I'm a rightist, right? Or you're a rightist and I'm a leftist, right? There's splintering inside because there's so many people that have their own ideals. Everybody is looking out for themselves at the end of the day. So yeah, if you're going to look out for yourself, you better have a small community around you so you guys can look out for each other. That's literally like the world. Right now, the world is going to hell in a handbasket. And if you ain't got nobody to help you out, bro, prepare to be fighting on your own. And it's going to be tough doing so. You either fight on your own or you join a radical group and you don't even believe everything that they're saying. You just have to fight with them because that keeps you safe. Right? It's just like prison politics, bro. You black, you go with the Bloods and the Crips. You a Mexican, you go with the Latinos. Like there, you white, you go with the white supremacists. Even if you might be cool with other races, you got to hang out with the white supremacists, bro, because this is prison politics and it's sad. It's absolutely sad. And I hate seeing it. I wish more people would get along, but that would require people to actually talk to somebody that has a different opinion than them. And a lot of people don't like doing that. And it's ridiculous. And that's why I'm sitting here saying this stuff because it's absolutely true. And if you don't agree, well, then go ahead and say something and then we can have a conversation because I am open to conversation. A lot of people are not. And and I can't blame them because there's a lot of idiots out here online just in general. So I can see why people don't want to have conversation. But conversation is absolutely important. I mean, that's how we survive so long as humans anyway, by communicating with each other. It's a sad, sad, sad state of affairs.
Here is, if Asmongold had done a tier list with Israeli on top and Palestinian on the bottom, would he have gotten banned, yes or no? There was clear bias at Twitch now towards the whole Palestine and Israel conflict, and as you thought that things could not get worse, it turned out that Ynet,
they should have just banned everybody, to be honest.
A pretty popular news outlet in Israel, came out with a report saying that Twitch had blocked anyone in Israel from creating a new Twitch account ever since October 13th. That's October 13th, 2023, by the way, so it's been over a year. Some people tried switching to a VPN to Israel and they would get the same thing. The IP was immediately blocked from account creation. This is the error code you would see. Error description, blocked country IP. It turned out that ever since them blocking account creation in Israel, people have been reaching out to Twitch support asking, hey, is this normal? And Twitch would reply with something like this. I'm really sorry that you're having issues creating an account. We have reviewed your case thoroughly and can confirm that, unfortunately, you are not eligible to create a Twitch account. As a result, we will be closing your case at this time. Explaining absolutely nothing about the situation and just brushing it off and
yeah, we see you got a problem. Okay, goodbye.
Closing the ticket. This was so big that the Times of Israel picked up this story as well, confirming that yes, users in Israel could not create an account. The Jerusalem Post picked up the story as well, echoing the same things that were said in Ynet and the Times of Israel. A streamer by the name of Dan Can't Stream has made it his life's mission to go after Twitch and prove that they did this deliberately and that this wasn't just a mistake. He says that as early as May 2024,
bro, how do you mistakenly block a whole country? It just doesn't even make sense.
Or there was a small ignored effort with the hashtag #BatluathTwitch, which aimed to get Twitch to answer why they could not create accounts from Israeli creators. While we're talking about this, I should mention that this wasn't just related to Israeli citizens, this was also related to Palestinian territories such as the West Bank and Gaza. So this accusation was pretty damn big, right? Twitch, and especially its parent company Amazon, does not want to be perceived as anti-Semitic, but that was exactly how people were perceiving them now. So not even a day after these accusations started surfacing, Twitch support made a tweet. We wanted to address concerns we've seen about whether we're preventing Twitch account signups in some regions. When signing up for a Twitch account, you can select an account verification method, email or phone. For added protection, following the October 7, 2023 attacks, we temporarily disabled signups with email verification in Israel and Palestine. We did this to prevent uploads of graphic material related to the attack and to protect the safety of users. Signups were not disabled, and we continue to see signups from both regions. Users could choose to sign up with phone verification. We've learned that, inadvertently, we did not re-enable email verification signups for either region. I'm just going to interrupt this tweet real quick to mention something.
Lying?
This argument falls apart when you realize that they didn't do this when Russia invaded Ukraine. They didn't do this to Yemen, they didn't do this to Lebanon, and they didn't do this to Myanmar. A bunch of countries currently at war. Anyway, let's continue. We deeply regret this unacceptable miss and the confusion it has caused. We fixed the issue, meaning all affected users can sign up with email verification. We've also heard concerns about whether our community guidelines apply to all content on our service. We continue to enforce our rules as consistently as possible and are actively reviewing content and taking enforcement action where needed. So this last paragraph was in reference to Frogan and her panel in TwitchCon with the ethnicity tier list, as well as Hassan. But they were pretty much saying that, oh, don't worry, only email verification was disabled, phone still worked, we still received signups. However, as you can see right here, they got community noted. Both email registration and phone registration were blocked. Dan Can't Stream yet again coming up with a tweet disproving Twitch, saying, hey Dan Clancy, about mobile signup still working thing, sure doesn't fucking seem like it. Thank God we took recordings before you did damage control. Attaches a video showing that mobile signup was not working in Israel, saying, resign anti-Semite to Dan Clancy. So in this video, as you can see, there's going to be a phone number put in and it doesn't work. The code never arrives. Dan himself quote-tweeted the Twitch support tweet saying, we just posted an explanation of what happened on Twitch support. Please look at this tweet. Very sorry about this oversight. It only came to our attention today. As mentioned in the tweet, it did not affect people using mobile phone verification. Again, very sorry this occurred. This was getting so out of hand that even the Anti-Defamation League, an American organization made to stop the defamation of Jewish people, had to reach out directly to Twitch to ask for answers and to express their disappointment. This is when things took a turning point. Look, objectively speaking, when the ADL reaches out to you out of concern as a company, it means that unless you change your course of action, you're about to lose every single sponsor on God's green earth. So Twitch is now in full damage control mode. They immediately reissued a ban on the Houthi Yemeni's Twitch channel. He usually streamed things like Rocket League, right? But this time I think it's permanent. And they banned every single streamer on the Twitch-sponsored panel. Let me just remind you, this was at TwitchCon, but every single streamer here, including Frogan and Denims, the person who threatened Asmongold's life for...
Remember, it's damage control. This is literally what it is. They're trying not to, and this is like, bro, virtue signaling, right? Bro, I'm pretty sure, like, whatever Dan has, like, personally, right? I don't know the man, I don't know the guy, whether he really does not like Israelis or not, or if he's anti-Semitic, I have no idea. I have no clue. And like looking at a website and looking at a human being, it's like, I mean, right, how much pull did the CEO actually have? Probably a lot. At the same time, it's like, yo, as soon as they start coming for the money, as soon as the sponsorships start leaving, they start flipping the switches. Same thing when it came to like the Xbox. It's like, oh, we can't take the Connect out. And then everybody's like, okay, well, we're going to go buy a PlayStation. And then they said, oh, we could take the Connect out, right? As soon as money gets involved, that's when these people start changing. They don't care about your politics. They don't care about you, right? Maybe Dan obviously likes Hassan. Hassan is obviously on this certain side of the political sphere. So Dan is like, that's my friend, and my friend is super famous. I'm going to try and support my friend. But as soon as his pockets started getting hurt, it was like, Hassan, who? Throw him out the way. Like, no, we're not going to, nah, forget that, right? People only work for their best interests. Remember this.
$30,000 got banned for 30 days. This is not a permanent ban. This is a 30-day ban. Now, people were wondering how an oversight like this could happen. Almost a year of people in Israeli and Palestinian territories not able to create an account truly made people wonder if this was an oversight or if it was done on purpose. Well, Twitch had a lot of layoffs in the beginning of the year, 500 employees, and Dan Cain's stream pretty much revealed that most of these layoffs were on the trust and safety team and were relocated to a cheaper location, which is Egypt, a country that doesn't famously have a friendly relationship with Israel. So Dan's theory is that this was why the Trust and Safety team was so anti-Israel, because they were Egyptians. As this was all happening, a website by the name of DanClancySucks.com got made, hoping to get him fired, saying Dan Clancy's Twitch is an anti-Semitic hellhole, showing you clips of Ethan Klein complaining about this ethnicity tier list they had at TwitchCon, how they banned Israeli and Palestinian accounts, Hassan's many cases of problematic behavior, about how Dan Clancy enjoys watching Hassan. So yes, while the ethnicity tier list streamers got banned for 30 days, Hassan still has not been touched. The reason why so many are pushing for his ban is for fairness, is for, in their eyes, justice. Many are hoping that now, after the ADL and Stop Anti-Semitism and many other Jewish organizations reached out to Twitch, that we would finally see changes when it comes to their very inconsistent...
Obviously not, bro. Like, this is one of those things where it's like, it's a bandage on a gunshot wound. Like, bro, if you don't get no gauze in there and actually take care of this wound, it will sit and fester. This is literally a band-aid. Like, oh, we got caught with our hand in the cookie jar. They are, unless they actually make changes in the leadership structure, expect things to go back to same as usual, right? Oh, they're not paying attention anymore? Okay, let's start doing our BS, our same little song and dance, because you never got rid of the actual issue. The issue is the leadership. That is the cold hard truth. And if that doesn't change, it doesn't matter if you fire Jeremy down in accounting, right? Jeremy down in accounting didn't have anything to do with this stuff.
Bans that have much favoritism attached to them. Whenever someone mentions Twitch, they have to mention Amazon, their parent company, and I'm sure Amazon does not want to have problems with people like the Anti-Defamation League. More importantly, though, this all happened under Dan Clancy's leadership. And it remains to be seen whether Amazon will force him to resign or whether he'll walk away scot-free. The fact that this is being picked...
And even when he does resign, bro, he'll probably have a golden parachute. Okay, there's nothing that's going to happen to Dan. He's high up and he's pretty safe, right? He worked at NASA. The guy is going to be good. The only thing I'm worried about is who are they going to replace him with? Because if they don't replace him with somebody that actually cares about streaming culture, don't expect anything to change, even if you do change the leadership.
Picked up by a lot of the media is showing that this is going to have a very negative impact on Twitch's reputation, and Amazon will definitely be keeping an eye out on that. Let's see what happens. But for now, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you watched till the end, I love you so much. You're awesome, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Love you. Mwah.
Dan, I care about all streamers on this platform. Anyways, did you see the Hassan streaming something today? Streaming something today? I don't know, bro. I wish you would like, cause I paused it. I wish you like move it up a little bit so I could read it, but it is what it is. Um, definitely, yeah. Interesting video. Mujin, thank you for making this definitely was a big experience, right? The lid is blown open. Like my eyes are fully open to the BS and the hypocrisies that are on this website known as twitch.tv. And yeah, I personally I feel like this is I feel like this is something more people should realize. Like these big companies, they just don't care, honestly. And some people, like, and if anything, it's a good thing that the companies do not have like any personal stakes. I wish that the company would have timed out people that were pro and anti of both Palestine and Israel. Like the site is supposed to be for entertainment. Sure, it's okay to have political discussions. That's okay, but having actual terrorists on your stream, crazy. Saying people are subhuman because they are part of a certain category of human, disgusting, right? These types of extremes definitely need to be knocked off the platform, right? Like, I can't be the only one thinking that that should definitely be the case, right? Political discussion is one thing, but going out and having the extreme ends of either side is absolutely crazy. But like, I mean, even looking at this person's following history, like, look who they following on Twitch. I mean, he has a specific type of streamer he enjoys to watch, right? It's a sad reality that, at the end of the day, nothing is going to change if leadership does not change. Nothing is going to change if people that aren't in the company actually care about the creators on the platform. And nothing's going to change if there's no competition. So, again, competition is like, for me, like competition between multiple different parties, right? Not just two big ones, because it's easy for two big companies to collude. Having a competition between a lot of different places, that is what's necessary so stuff like this doesn't get out of hand. But Twitch is oversaturated. Everybody goes to Twitch. And if you don't go to Twitch, you go to Kick because you got banned off Twitch, right? So Kick ain't the best place. Where you gonna go next? Rumble? Rumble's I don't know. I don't know about Rumble, right? I just know it has a bad reputation because Sneeko was on there. And so was Andrew Tate, right? But these places, like, they need to exist, or at least there needs to be more places that exist. It's because competition is important. So speaking of competition, follow me on Blue Sky, a competitor of Twitter. I don't use Twitter because I just don't use it, but your boys on Blue Sky, we tweeting, we talking about V2, talking about whatever. So follow me on there, and like my skeets. I think they're called skeets. Bro, like, 'cause everybody's talking about skeets, but those are people that are like lewd tubers. So I don't know if they're like skeet, like skeet, skeet. You know what I'm saying? But if they're really called skeets on there, that's kind of crazy. Because again, skeet, skeet. But yeah, it's your boy KhunShawn, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. Join the Discord down below. Drop your videos, and I'll check them out. And until next time, I will see you guys when I see you guys. Thank you, Mujin, again for making this video. Like, this is very important, and it was an amazing conversation to have. And until next time, y'all have a good one. Peace.